What's up, everybody on YouTube? Hey, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go over the three common mistakes that landlords make in owning a rental property. So hey, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So as a as a multifamily investor for over a decade of experience working with different students that's getting started in real estate, there are some common things that I notice across the board with individuals buying their very first income property. So today I want to kind of share some of those mistakes and how you can kind of avoid making those mistakes when you buy your very first income property or buy your second income property. All right, so the first thing is one of the first mistakes I see is when individuals buy property with no cash flow. So what tends to happen is an individual, maybe their first time, maybe just getting started, and they looking at a property based on just the aesthetics, what it look like, what it feel like to be in there, and they get their emotions involved. But when you're buying a property, you want to focus on what that property potentially can make for you. So when you're buying a multifamily property, or what we call it in Chicago, we call it a 3-unit. So if you're buying a 3-unit or 4-unit, the primary purpose of the property is to produce income. So if you're starting out, there are many different options for individuals that's starting out for the very first time. So when you're starting out for the very first time, people tend to want to go with FHA. FHA have the most friendliest down payment and interest rate for people that's just getting started in the business. So the one thing I would recommend that you go with FHA because they give you're allowed to get anywhere between 3 to 3.5% for down payment. Versus when you're an investor, and you already own properties, you tend to have to put a down payment of 10 to 20% down, which can be very difficult for someone that's just getting started in the business. So the first thing is when you're buying a property, you want to make sure that that property can potentially grow some sort of income. And when I say income, you want positive income, money that's coming in that's covering the expenses of the building. But when you're getting started for the first time as a FHA, with FHA as a first-time home buyer, you have to be an owner occupant, meaning that you have to live in the property in order to qualify for that property. So you may hit a word house hacking. So these are the terms that you tend to hear when you're getting started as a person that's buying your very first property. So I know a lot of us been hearing what the American dream is to own a house, a white picket fence, and a dog. But if we change that narrative and start with a income property first, then we'll be more in a position to start building generational wealth and income for ourselves. So when you own a property for the first time as a single family home, it may look good and it may be a good thing for you and your family, but when it comes to income, your money is going out every single month. If you was to lose your job or lose where you work, then potentially you can lose your property because you have no income coming in to support paying that mortgage. So that's why you want to start with owning an income property first. When you own an income property first, it puts you in position to start building generational wealth, getting you tax benefits and producing positive income and potentially staying rent free. So a lot of us been renting for many years. Some people have been renting 10 years, 5 years. So imagine all that money that you've been paying on a mortgage, but it's not your mortgage. You've been paying it for the landlord. And the landlord had been benefiting from you paying your rent, for them getting tax benefits, them getting appreciation, the property value going up, and income from you because you don't own the property. So you want to be the landlord. So the first thing is when you're getting started, one of the mistakes that tends to happen is people buy based on the looks and they tend to not gross income on that property. It may be vacant. So the one thing that you want to look out for is before you step foot out the door, before you work with a realtor, before you get in contact with a lender, there are some things you can do from your home without being an expert, without having a license. The one thing you can do is you can do your own market research. So the one thing that you want to start with first, so you can avoid these common mistakes, is you want to make sure you know what are the rents in your market. So wherever you live, wherever you're looking to purchase property, you want to know how much is the average rent for potential properties that you're looking to purchase. So for example, if you're looking to purchase a 3-unit building that have 3 apartments, one of the apartments you're going to stay in as an individual that's purchasing FHA loans, you're going to stay in one of the units, and then the other 2 units, you're going to rent it out. So if one of the units is a 2-bedroom and the next is a 3-bedroom, you need to know what are the average rents for the 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. So how do we go about doing that? So there's two options. One, you can go to a company called Zillow.com, Zilliow.com, where you can look at the average rents in that area. Or you can go to what I like is rentalmeter.com. So Rental Meter is a paid subscription, but they have a free version where you can get up to about 10 searches on there. And so what you do is you put in your property, the property that you or potential property looking to purchase, or the area, and you put in 2 bedrooms, and they'll tell you what is the average rent for that area. So for example, if the average rent for the area is $1,000, then you know that potentially once you purchase this property, you can make up to $1,000 on that unit. If it's a 3-bedroom, and say that the 3-bedroom average rent is $1,300, you know now that $1,300 is the max I can make. So gross rents, meaning the max money coming in is $2,300. And say that you potentially looked at what the mortgage would be based on the price of the home and the interest rate. Say that the mortgage is $1,700. That means that $2,300 is gross, and of that amount is what you're going to pay for your mortgage. So now, so the cool part about that is now you went from paying rent for 10 to 5 years of $1,000 a month. So it's like, so if you're paying $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. All that money going out the door, and you're not benefiting from no type of way, no type of tax benefits, no type of appreciation. But now, when we do it this way, you're now in a position where you're making income on a monthly basis, and you're saving the rent. So if you was already accustomed to making $1,000 rent payments, we're not going to spend that. We're going to now use that to reinvest. You're going to take a portion of that money to save. You're going to take another portion of that money to invest. Another portion of money you're going to put into a reserve account. So when there come issues, which it will in real estate, you have money to pay for it. So the issue that people tend to have when they're buying income properties, they don't have money to handle repairs. They don't have money to handle maintenance. And then if it's time to evict the tenant, they don't have money to sustain them while they're evicting the tenant. So if you have these things up front, you can avoid these common mistakes that tend to happen for individuals. So the second common mistake that I see, individuals not having enough reserves for maintenance and vacancies. So what is maintenance? So as a property owner, the first thing you got to do is treat the property like a business from day one. This is no longer a hobby, something that you like, you've been hearing about for years. This is something that is considered a business. So if you run it like a business and you treat it like a business, you get paid like a business. So the first thing is you want to have money for reserves. So when you're operating and managing a income property, what tends to happen is over time, 6 months, 4 months, things happen. So you may have to repair plumbing, you may have to repair a broken door. And, some people live paycheck to paycheck. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have the room to handle when issues happen on the property. You don't want to pull your hard-earned money from your income to take to support your business. The right way to do it is already have money set aside in reserves. So what I noticed, one of the common mistakes that I see newbies in reserve and investors that have been doing for many years is that they don't have enough money on the side to handle reserve and vacancies. So we just talked about maintenance and having money for that, but let's talk about vacancy. What is vacancy? Vacancy is at some point in owning the property, the tenant is going to move out. So you tend to do a year lease, whatever the case may be, they may move out, and you may have a 2 months or 3 months where no one is occupying that space. That means that you're losing money. But if you have money set aside, you can cover that time, and also you can repair and spruce up that apartment and get it back ready to rent ready for the market tenants, so that you won't have a delay when it comes to having somebody in your unit and making money. But if you don't set money aside for that, then you tend to have issues. One, you don't have enough money to do the repairs, and you won't be able to move fast enough in order to continue getting the money for the unit. So you want to make sure that, so what I like to do is set aside 5% for maintenance and 5% of the gross income. So if you're bringing in $2,300 income, you want to take 5% of that $2,300, 5% of the vacancy amount, and put it into a separate account, not your personal account. You having a separate business account, which will allow you to, one, don't bother it, and you'll have money set aside. So when there become issues, when they come emergency, you're able to handle it. All right. The third thing is investing based on appreciation. This is something that I see a lot. People buy a property saying, well, hey, it's not worth anything today, but I know it's going to appreciate next year because I'm in this particular market. Do not buy a property based on future profit or future appreciation. So you want to buy a property based on what you see today in your due diligence, because the market change sometimes quarterly, semi-annually, sometimes annually, yearly. So if you guys know what's happening, what's been happening in the market right now. So last year, this time, the market was hot, meaning that it wasn't a lot of inventory. There was a lot of people out there looking to purchase properties, and interest rates were very low. So interest rates are very low. So you have a lot of people so looking to purchase almost the same property. So what happens? So if a property is listed for 300,000, you like it, I like it, the next person like it, and we all put an offer on it. So now you have what is called a multiple offer situation. You have multiple people giving an offer, and that hikes the price up. So it go from 300 to 310, 350. So now you got this property that may be overpriced, 350 now. So now you're sitting with a 350 property with a low interest rate, which is great. But guess what? Now in the market has changed. A lot of those property has lost value. So the property that was worth 350 is now worth 300,000. So that's not a good thing either, because that person was waiting on appreciation. Now that property has lost its value. So that is one of the reasons why you don't want to purchase based on appreciation. So most properties just in general in the United States appreciate anywhere between 5 to 10% yearly. There are certain markets that I've experienced where it's 15 to 20%. And sometimes that change within a year's time. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So with real estate, there are many benefits. One, you have the tax benefits. So that means you can write off your interest. You can write off, the expenses of your property versus you as a personal individual. A lot of things that you won't be able to do. But as a business, running it as a business, there is many expenses that you can write off. Also, the IRS allow you to depreciate the property up to 27 years. So each year you can depreciate the property because it's an actual physical asset that depreciate over time as far as the physical aspect of the property. Next, we have appreciation. So in different markets, the property do appreciate. So the difference between what you owe on a property and what you're making on the property will allow you to get what is called equity. So that's these are the benefits of owning an income property. So that's why most people like to get income properties, and there tends to be many different challenges, but these are the common mistakes that I see the individuals make. Now I'm gonna give you guys a bonus. So the bonus is this: the most important thing that I see that tend to be a mistake for individuals too is not building a team in the beginning. It's not based on your experience. It's based on you building a team that's doing the heavy lifting for you. So what did I mean by that? So heavy lifting for you mean that you are forming individuals that have the experience that you don't have. You have, so what is like similar to what we call the dream team. So you got this amazing team and you're the coach of this team. And you may not even have any experience in real estate. But when you got you in a seasoned realtor or broker that know what they're doing, and that is someone that's going to be your eyes and ears. When you have a lender that you know is going to lend you the money and at closing you're not going to have any issues, that is what you want on your team. You want an attorney that's going to draft up the documents, make sure you have the proper contingencies in your document to protect you. That's who you want on your team. You want an inspector that's going to make sure that you're buying a property, not based on your emotions, not based on a feeling, but knowing that this property is structurally sound and is in the position where you can make money. So these are the people that you need to have in your team. So I'm going to say this again. So you have your realtor, you have your lender, you have your inspector, you have your attorney, and there are many more people, but these are the most important people on your deal. So with your attorney, this is going to help you to make sure you have the right contracts for your deal. Your inspector is going to help you with issues that may come along. So one thing I would tell you guys with building a team is I use my inspections from time to time as a way to negotiate my deals. So there was a time I had a deal where I didn't have all the funds for closing, but I was able to negotiate with the seller based on my inspection report. So I had my inspection report. There were things that the seller verbally told me that was completed and was done. And once we had this inspection done by the inspector with this professional license report, we was able to negotiate thousands of dollars, which in turn allowed me to keep money in my pocket. So that's why you want these inspectors. And there's another situation where I saw a property I really wanted, and I wanted to close in 30 days, and it's an investment property. And just building a relationship with my inspector and just doing deals with them, he told me that it wouldn't be a good deal because of the mold issues. It wasn't structurally sound. So guess what? My inspector saved me thousands of dollars because he know what he's doing. He's been doing this then over 1,000 properties. But even myself, as a person that as a multifamily investor that have a construction background, there's things that I miss. But that's why it's good to have these people and you assemble these people on your team. So these are the common mistakes that tend to happen in real estate. And these are the ways that you avoid these issues. So if you start off this way, before you even step foot in speaking to a lender, make sure you understand what you are buying. And remember, when you're buying a rental property, you're buying it to produce gross income. You're looking to buy it to make income and to make money. So remember, it's not a hobby, it's a business. If you treat it like a business, guess what? You're gonna get paid by a business. You'll get paid like it's a business. So one, thank you guys for sharing it. If you have not already, make sure that you smash the like button, hit the share, and follow for the next video that we're going to share on real estate tips. Look forward to sharing with you guys more information.